until the day. Because I don't fade. Get your shit, what you do, I wanna keep away. But for now, hey, I stay free.
When everything else is going wrong, at least I got the music, man. Always puts me in such a good mood. Patrick Dion Camtoni and Blossom with Wanna Love You. Good morning, welcome to the morning mix right here on Informanté Radio.
Moro.
Pera me mense.
No, lekker.
More.
It's lekker man. Mary, are you feeling better?
Slightly.
It's good to hear. That never. You have this big frown on your face. What a gua?
I know you guys are trying your utmost best to lift my spirit here this morning. But it's gonna take a while to really lift my spirit because I have to put it on record.
Yeah.
I think in terms of what we have done to get Minister Boamba Shifeta in the studio, I think it's been, and you guys know, I think for the last 2 months. No, it's even more than 2 months. I think it's since last year that we've tried to get him on the show.
Get a hold of him
so now there is a complete so-called confusion at the moment as to where the interview should have taken place. Now we're waiting for him, and we just had a conversation with him that he's waiting for us at his office, and we made it very clear that it's in our studio, etc., etc. So, whether he will be pitching for the interview.
So he might still be joining us at some point during the course of this conversation.
There's a call here.
But other than that, of course, we are going to continue with the show. It is a Thursday. Just some of the... I can hear you talking. Some of the...
He's on his way.
One of the highlights, basically, of today, of course, is the appearance of the Fish Rod 23 in court today.
Yeah, people already gathered at the court to protest us. In numbers.
No, never update.
Huh?
Update.
Okay, no, update. The minister is on his way. I just spoke to the minister's assistant. He calls.
All right. So that's going to be interesting. We are going to be talking to Mr.
Comrade Minister.
Can I ask, why do we comrade minister?
No, it's just...
Is it comrade doctor even? Comrade doctor?
Why don't we just say, okay, Mr. Shifeta, if you understand, or doctor, if that's what you are. Why? Comrade Minister Dr. Hage Gego.
Yes.
Your Excellency.
His Excellency, the Honorable Comrade Doctor.
What is... Maybe one day we should talk about it, but what is this obsession?
With titles.
With titles.
Yeah.
And why do people feel less than?
Even when the title means absolutely nothing.
Like
somehow
Comrade Minister. Or okay, if you want to be respectful, maybe just say Minister Shifeta, but even the minister is not a title for me. It's
or Mr.?
Oh yeah, Mr. That's what I'm saying. I understand the Mr., Mrs., Doctor, the professional titles. But the...
Comrade. You must know we are comrades in arms.
Comrade, founding father, honorable, what? Well, please fill them in because there's like at least 10 titles.
His Excellency.
His Excellency.
The founding father. The comrade. Commander-in-Chief. There are so many. But Tate Neville is apparently trying to usher in our Minister of Environment and Tourism.
Yeah, boy, yes.
Quite a couple of stuff that we would like to chat to him about. And also don't forget, just to remind you guys, once again, the stream is now live on Informanté Radio's page, but then it is still shared live in real time on Informanté News' Facebook page. So you can go share it and start your own little watch parties and invite your peeps to join in on the conversation this morning. But like I said, like the Informanté Radio page and turn on the notifications so you're not left out next time. Yes, Maria, before these guys come here, there's something I want us to quickly scanner about. I saw something about the appointment of former education minister, Katrina Hanse-Imara.
Yeah. So I have unfortunately have not had, because I came to work and then immediately I'm in studio, so I didn't have time to verify the accuracy or even where this thing is coming from. But there was something being circulated. It says former Minister of Basic Education Katrina Hanse-Imara has been appointed to serve on 2 parliamentary standing committees. Announcing the appointment in the National Assembly today, House Speaker Peter Kachivivi said Imara will serve on the Human Resources and Capital Development Committee as well as the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. Like I said, I don't, at this point for me, it's still unconfirmed, just because I also don't know. It was just, I think it was not like an insert, like a cutout of seemingly an article, which I also don't know from which newspaper, if at all a newspaper.
So it's somebody did something that somebody did.
Yeah, on notes.
Yeah.
So it's still unconfirmed at this point. But if it is genuine, that's very disappointing.
Yes, if it is genuine, if it does turn out to be genuine, it would be very disappointing. But I guess we can hold off on really diving into it until we get proper confirmation. Of course, we can corroborate the story. Yeah, you don't wanna
have a whole discussion based on hearsay.
Yeah, all right. Good morning, you guys. I see some of you already chipping in with your comments. I like that. Tena Namba morning crew, and why is that Neville restless? Good morning.
Small comrade, you know how he gets when there's a minister in studio.
There's a minister in studio.
Yeah, let's talk about him. But watch. I will live in, since it's not in studio.
Did you see the look?
Can we bet? I'm gonna bet you $100, right? That when he comes here, he's going to start. Comrade, see, we've had other ministers in the studio, and when they come in very tense. Yeah, they come in very tense. But then, after it goes, they start to relax.
I know definitely he's going to say that.
Yeah, okay, so we can't because we're not disagreeing. Maya, he must give us $100 each if he says it.
Yes, if he says it, actually he must. Yeah, you remember we did our whole lunch run last year where we went to go eat the food from the Zambezi. He must take us out again for lunch.
Yes. I'm actually in the mood for that Zambezi fish. What is it called?
Brim.
The brim.
Zambezi brim.
The Zambezi brim.
It was actually quite nice, I must admit. Shirks, Shambeleni. You guys are late. No, we are not.
The minister is late.
Yes, the king is never late. You are just unnecessarily
there
early.
He comes.
Okay, he rocks up. Tena Namba, let me try and get to some of these comments before, of course, we get to dive into the conversation.
Look, Neville walked all the way across to the Ministry of Environment.
Of Environment to go get the minister. It's like, hey, go on, man. So, meaning the minister went AWOL. No, he is around. Rosie of Eyes. Morning, my people. All the love from Grootfontein. I think you're the first person to actually send us a shout-out from Grootfontein. So,
please, the minister has got an earpiece. What do you call them? What do you call them? Bluetooth.
The Bluetooth Shandigi.
Yeah, please don't make a joke about it on air, please. No? Behave. Yeah, all right.
Tena Nambwa is talking about the sound. I don't know what is wrong with your audio. Oh, sorry, Maria, sorry. My bad. And also looking at some of the other comments that are already coming in from, should I take it? The problem is the stream is also controlled through the...
All right, thank you. No, it's fine.
All right. Okay, yes. Let me continue reading some of the comments while we settle in, and then we can officially get to our discussion for this morning. Shirk Shambeleni, titles are given out like sweets. You might think unemployment is unreal in Namibia, as you might be either boss, manager, or leader. Like, you guys are confusing me now. Are we settled in? That Neville, is he rested?
Unless, should you perhaps change? Mine is longer.
Is it longer?
Yeah. You can take this. Are you okay? Okay. All right.
All right. Also, a couple of good mornings coming from Ongwe Diva, from Mariental Grootfontein. So a whole lot of you are already tuning in. It's a great pleasure to have you guys on board this morning. Mr. Neville, I will rope you back in to just welcome our honorable guest this morning.
Good morning to all our viewers and our listeners out there.
It's off.
Huh?
It's off.
Is it off?
Yes.
Oh, it's actually on.
It's on.
It's
My
off.
5, keep my 5.
Now it's off.
Okay.
My 5.
So it's you again.
But why are you doing the mics like this? Like X. Okay, yes.
We have in the studio Minister Pohamba Shifeta, Minister of Environment and Tourism. Good morning, Comrade Minister.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome finally to our studio.
You struggled, eh? At last, I'm here.
It's been
we are neighbors, because I had to attend to other people from far.
Yes.
And they were neighbors here, just across the street. So I decided, just hold on, you are neighbors, we will attend to you.
Okay.
And we've been neighbors for such a long time, and through all our discussions, and Comrade Minister was like, my brother, which side? That side, this side. But nevertheless, you are here now, and we are extremely thankful that you could take out some time to be here this morning. So, Maria, is there something you want? You sit there with a big,
No, I'm waiting
like
for it.
glowing
No.
here.
No, I wanted to make an official introduction.
I've done my official introduction. So, Comrade Minister, I think maybe to start off the conversation, perhaps we can just start off by asking, from the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, what's your mandate currently as a ministry?
Yes.
What are you responsible for?
The mandate of the ministry and that of the Minister of Environment and Tourism is to look at the conservation of our natural resources and also the protection of our environment against harmful or destructive activities, and also to ensure that those who undertake listed activities, that means activities that are regarded or viewed as harmful or destructive to the environment, must have a clearance certificate, environmental clearance certificate, issued by the Environmental Commissioner. And without that, undertaking of that activity cannot be permitted.
Yeah.
And also, on the other part, we are responsible for our wildlife, and that is very important. Wildlife here, we talk of flora and fauna, not only animals, but everything in what you have as natural resources, natural resources in general now, that we need to utilize our natural resources as sustainable as possible. And that is the mandate of the ministry. And on the other side, again, we are here to ensure that tourism is flourishing in the country. We have to invite tourists to come to the country, and also combining natural resources we have and our landscape. We have our cultural heritage. We attract these tourists to the country, and we do that with the mandate to ensure that we increase our revenue and also our forex, because these tourists, they bring forex in the country, and also employment creation. We combined this together, and that's why we need to protect our environment, because tourists come here because our environment is clean.
Yeah.
From pollution, our environment, the landscape is most part virgin, so it's not spoiled, and we want to maintain it as such. Of course, when you have to eat a scrambled egg, you have to crush it. So you have to make sure that you crush the egg, and then in order to eat the scrambled egg. But we do that with the least destructive activities.
I think under the current economic climate of Namibia, I think when I personally speak to just to the general public out there and say, guys, it seems like we don't know which sector in Namibia is really keeping afloat. But if there's one sector that everybody talks about and say, no. When it comes to tourism in Namibia, that is the one sector in Namibia that keeps the economy afloat at the moment. Would that be a true assessment?
It is true. It is true. When it comes to the contribution to the GDP and the contribution to the employment creation, job opportunities in the country, tourism is one of those sectors, and they even surpass now agriculture because we had droughts and other things. And again, in agriculture, people don't know this. Most farmers who generate more money and have no debts like any other game farmers. And that's why this part is not counted as game farmers when they do accounting with the fiscus. So it is like regarded as farming activities. But if you take out game farmers, their contribution to the GDP, then the livestock farmers, they really don't make money more. That's why we encourage mixed farming, that you have you don't reduce wild animals to meat. Make sure that there are other opportunities that you can make money. You can use a war dog. You can generate even that you can, for trophy hunting, just a simple bushwhack. You get even up to 10,000. Something that you only regard it as meat. Kudu, you can also get up to 500,000. Just a kudu, a trophy hunt for a trophy, but the meat remains with you.
Clearly,
so
some of us are
trophy hunter does not want that. So there are many things. Tourism is really one of our flagship. So we cannot, we have to take care of that part to make sure that our visitors are safe, and it should be our effort, all of us, that we make sure that wherever we see tourists and they've been stabbed by some of this, we have some, you always have naughty kids in the house. We must really protect them. They must also see that the general public cares about these visitors. And we offer that hospitality. And we improve our customer care service. Mediocre service that we give to our customers, to our visitors, sometimes puts us down. We want to make sure that our visitors, not only those from outside, but also anyone comes to your hospitality establishment, that person pays you. And I can tell you that if you cut half of the visitors from outside, foreign visitors from outside who come here as tourists, just half of them, I can tell you that most of the restaurants here will be closed, most hotels will close, most lodges will close, and the economy will go down. We don't talk about the whole, but just half of them. We had recently our 2018 statistics, tourist statistics. We have 1.5. Those are the tourists now. Not people who come for business. 1.5 million.
1.5 million tourists.
Now, if you are saying if you count up to 13, every 13 tourists come here. As you counted 13th, job opportunities created in the chain. Starting from the airline that brings here, airport, you have transport, you have restaurants, you have many things. So every 13th tourist coming out to Namibia, one job opportunity is created. That's why every year you have job opportunity around 100,000 created, or more than that every year. So if you take out tourism in this country, we are in for it as a country. So the disaster that we have never seen. That's why we have to take care of that part And as a ministry, we have come up with strategies, tourism strategies, and these strategies to make sure that we relook and we introspect ourselves.
Yeah.
We have a inter-ministerial committee that looks at the implementation of our strategies. Then we also have advisory council. That committee that it's composed of public and also private sector.
Yeah.
So these are very important. That they generate all the ideas, and these ideas will now and the plans will be then implemented by this interministerial committee, because it involves many people, many sectors as well. You need to have involvement with security. You have to have involvement of migration. That's why we are now working as we have this very important area which we share now between the 5 countries. We call it the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, shared by 5 countries. That's Angola, Namibia, Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And that area that in the whole world so far declared by treaty as biggest transboundary conservation area in the world. And it's also the area that has got a lot of wild animals. If you want elephants, 85% of the elephants in the whole world, they are in that area. You come to many other buffaloes and all the wildlife. You come to them. Now we are working to nurture that area, so that we even work on Univisa. Now that Univisa now is being piloted between Zambia and Zimbabwe, and it's very smooth. If you go to Zambia now, you cross over to Zimbabwe without any visa, without anything, just with your AD pass there. You don't need to have many other things. Now, if we're now trying to replicate that to the rest of the 3 countries. Now, and if we want to have this country a tourist hub, and I was thinking that if we have to have another 3rd international airport, then we must have the airport in Katima, Mulilo, to be an international airport. With that, we can now exploit that moment. So because and the most tourists, they come here, they have to ask. If they want to go to Angola, they have to ask a visa there. Namibia. I mean, if you have one visa, and it will be easier, because each of these 5 countries, of course, one has an embassy somewhere, or at least they can issue visas. So we are saying, if we have this, and you have our airport there, Pash Airport is an international airport, tourists will come here. That airport will be just like we have Victoria Falls. So now Victoria Falls dominates the whole area. So I'm saying tourism becomes one of the very contributing sectors in the country.
We have a few topics to questions that we need to touch on, and I think the public out there probably have a few things to say.
A few questions.
Questions that they would like to ask. So maybe Cubase, maybe we can get into just to some of the comments and opinions out there.
Now, before I start reading some of the comments, I just want to deviate from the tourism a little bit and just ask the Honorable Minister. I mean, with the whole world basically scrambling to go green, does the ministry have like a long-term plan also to make Namibia go green, so to speak, in the hopes of maybe mitigating the effects of climate change?
Yes, we have already started with that. As you might recall that 2015 at Paris, where we had the Paris Agreement, at our conference there on a convention of climate change, we had an agreement, and that agreement came up as a result of many countries came together, drafted a treaty, and they signed eventually and we ratified that already in the same year, in the same following year. So 2016 we ratified that. And apart from that, before we went to Paris, we came up with what we call, every country was required, every state, member state was required to come up with what we call intended nationally determined contribution, a document that tells the world what that country will do to minimize, to mitigate, and to adapt to climate change. And Namibia has NDC, that's nationally determined contribution. It's very outstanding, and it's very, very ambitious. And that's why we have started already even on the renewable energy, because by 2030 we must be able to generate our electricity, 79% should be from renewable energy. And we are getting there already. And that's why we are now allowing even some of those investors who want to invest in wind energy. We have it there. We have already signed some of the agreements already, so that they can come up and there's plenty there. We can harvest that, and the solar.
Okay.
So most of the parks, we are saying we have enough wind there, especially the Lutridge area. There's Jacob National Park there. We have given some already concessions for that. So we are sure that by 2030 we'll be able to do that. And also because we don't really generate more emission. In Africa in total, we don't even generate 1%. There are culprits who are very, very notorious. And those culprits who are notorious, some of them even want to say we are still developing, we still have to exploit to develop our industries. These are the ones who are generating more. And one of them have of course, the first one, the American, the North America, of course, the United States, generate more, followed by China. I don't know. They accuse each other. No, but you generate more. But of course, the Chinese are saying, no, but we are still developing. We are still developing that. But I'm not also sure whether that status prevails now when it comes to China, whether it's still a developing country, or it's just using that in order to still siding with those continue to pollute. And those and they say, no, let me pollute also, because you have developed yourself through pollution. So let us also do part of it, so that we can also come to a point. When we come to the pair, now we can say, okay, we stop now. But what we are saying is countries that are more really suffering from this, when we put up a fund that has to be countries that are developed countries must put fund there, 100 billion. From this year, we must have 100 billion in that fund, US dollar in that fund, in order for those countries that are suffering, developing countries, to get funds from there. And they use that, it's our green climate funds, use that now to mitigate and adapt to the climate change. But this is not forthcoming. It's not even half. It's not even a quarter of money that has come. So, and you know already that the United States has already announced that they are pulling out from the treaty.
Trump. So, of course.
Donald. Okay, just maybe two more issues before I start reading comments. Don't worry, I promise I'm going to get to the comments.
Yes.
One of the things that have really been out of sort of the news of late is the phosphate mining. So maybe I just want the minister to give us the ministry's stand on phosphate mining here in Namibian waters as it is now. And the other one was a question about the current status on the Korra Awards, I think, was what somebody was
you probably get these two questions every day of your life. Whenever you are at a function or somewhere and say, Comrade Minister, no, what's the issue with phosphate mining? Then you have to answer again, Comrade Minister, what is the issue with the Korra situation? Sometimes people say, Comrade Minister, Korra, they even make fun of you in that regard. So you must have been used to all of this now for some time, and you probably have a buffer how you deal with these type of questions, because they keep on coming and keep on coming. So There must be a way that you
Let me
address
start
it.
with the phosphate mining.
Mm.
This phosphate mining, you know what, probably because it did not have really policies as a government,
Mm.
and which we can deal with some of the things.
Yeah.
This mining license, first mining exploration license was issued because the competent authority in this case is the Ministry of Mines and Energy.
Uh-huh.
And that time, EMA, the Environmental Management Act number 7 of 2007, did not come into force. That's why they issued these two licenses. There are two companies that were issued two licenses. After exploration, they were given a license to mine. Now, after EMA came into force, the Environmental Management Act came into force in 2012, they were given a time to say, look, now every activities that are listed activities in the regulations must make sure that if you don't have an environmental clean certificate, you must apply that within 12 months. Many of these have failed to do so. And of course, somebody did not know, but I expect that people who have got big companies, they have lawyers. So it's not the ministry to do their legalist work.
Yeah.
They have to make sure that they know what they are doing. It's like some companies are trying to pretend. Even our own public institutions, ministries, they always, you ask a payment secretary that time or executive director, why your company has started doing this construction and you have not acquired a clean certificate. No, we didn't know. And I said, if you are executive director and you didn't know that there is EMA, then you are not supposed to be in that position.
Yeah.
So that's an incompetency of the highest order. Because this is something that protects our environment. Now we have all these things. Now on the case of phosphate, after that, of course, they were issued with an environmental clean certificate by the Environmental Commissioner to just pilot, to invest so that there will be data collected 24 hours to see, because it was a temporary thing and it was a conditional one, to say if anything comes in, because there was a debate as to why should we fear the water that we did not sail, why don't we just test it first?
Yeah.
Then the Environmental Commissioner issued them to test that for 3 years. They will look, we will test, but there will be a continuous monitoring and observation of those activities to ensure that it does not generate any dangerous activities that harm the environment.
Yeah.
So, but then it was challenged. Normally when the Environmental Commissioner issued a clearance, there is an opportunity for any party to appeal to the minister. Then it's up to the minister either to gather some lawyers or to determine that himself or herself. But I have been doing that. I don't need to gather lawyers because you pay almost 300,000 to get these lawyers. We lawyers, we ask money. So that's our work. So, but
why did you say that so softly? Lawyers asking money.
No, it's okay. It's work. I have to be paid. I mean, I tried to do that because I really did not have time sometimes.
Yeah.
And these appeals are so many, and I sit and adjudicate on these appeals, and sometimes I had to do research and so on. It's not an easy thing. The people think that it's an easy thing. I don't sleep. I have to write judgment overnight. It's not my work. Of course, it's my work because I'm sitting there. But I can easily say, let me gather 3 or 2 lawyers to preside over this and investigate that, and they get some expert. So, but I do that in order to save money.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's also good for my practice. So I now said, okay, look, because there was appeal. Of course, the appeal was a bit late because you have to appeal in accordance with the Regulation 25. You have to appeal within 14 days after you have been issued with either declining of that, or you came out to know about. You have the knowledge of the declining of your environmental clearance certificate. So it was that that one person did that beyond the 14 days. So I gave that condonation because the environmental Environmental Management Act gives that allowance for the discretion to the minister to condone that part. So I condone, and that is what was individual. So now I then set aside that clearing certificate by the decision of the Environmental Commissioner. They appeal to the Higher Court. When they appeal to the Higher Court, that is now the Phosphate Mining Company. The Higher Court then set aside, because I asked them whether they have, because we were trying to do now the issue of, because the hearing, and then I asked them questions when the appellant sent me this information, asked the question for them to give me their side. So when they gave me their side, I thought it was enough, because I did not see the need of calling them and to the hearing, because they have given their side, and they also the law does not say that when you give them their side, you must call the hearing. So of course, but they sustained their argument on that part, that okay, we still want to be given that hearing. So the judge then gave them that and referred back that I need to redo it, and I did it, and I still set aside that part. Then again they appealed. Now they are appealing on their appeal now, because there are two cases now standing in the court. Their appeal now is no longer challenging that part of the appeal, because they were also, it was 50-50, because they were also contesting that the appellant has no locus standi to apply to court. That means has no legal standing to be heard by the court, because it's an individual. And the judgment was very clear. That judgment says environmental protection is very, very important. And that I also take it that our Constitution, Article 95L, is very clear. It says the state must take measures, shall take measures. It doesn't say the government. That means anybody, the state you are talking about general, any institution or natural person, any person finds himself in Namibia, has a concern about the environment, he can go to court. He's got that locus standi. So to approach the court and to be heard. So now the whole thing is now subject to decay. That's why I said I don't want to go in details as to what will happen, but that is the thing. So we are not saying phosphate mining, and we did not come to that point, to that conclusion, because we need to have some scientific evidence to do that, empirical evidence to say that. That's why the piloting was good. But we are saying, if there are those who have sustained this argument, appeal to my office, and they sustain that argument, definitely I have to set aside that. Yeah. And I believe that if the concern is that, look, let us not. So those are my bases. The precautionary measures my judgment was based on the precautionary measures.
Okay. So in the
environmental law.
In the voice of President Hage Gottfried Keinkop, the investors are waiting. We must decide what we will do or we will not do. So, yeah, basic and country. So, question obviously, Korra War.
It's contemptuous, but I'm saying they were crooked, because the agreement was that if this Korra War did not take place within 6 months.
Yeah.
Advertisement thing, it's like we advertise different TV stations in the world, newspapers, and so on. It was a package. Has been paid, and they did not. The Korra War did not take place. They were promising they would pay back. Until that time, we said no. We had to litigate. We had to get our money. Yeah. So it's in the court now. So we'll see how the court will handle this and come to a conclusion. Of course, the court will come to a conclusion.
Of course, yes. Should I turn to some of the comments?
As I believe time is running out.
I see.
The minister has a busy schedule.
Yeah, quite eager. Right, we turn our attention to, I think, northeast Namibia with the first two comments I have here. First one from Alfredo Jack Evangelista. New Force, in brackets, Jan Huang is still exporting timber. Mr. Minister, how? And from Robert Kindipo, good morning, Mr. Shifeta. What contribution does timber exporting contribute to our economic development? Maybe we just start with those two around the timber situation in the northeast of the country.
Yeah, I think the public should be clear on this matter. Forestry is not within the Ministry of Environment. And Ministry of Environment, what we do is to ensure that the natural resources are used sustainably. The Forest Act is being administered by the Agriculture Ministry. So I cannot go and administer what they should do, but what we need to do is that anything that is being harvested without a certificate, environmental clean certificate, we are going to stop it. Yeah. But that's why these things, that timber that has been transported now, it's not a timber that are cut now. If we found that the timbers that have been cut, definitely yes, we come in. But timber that are already harvested or confiscated, I mean, we cannot do anything on that. So it is a baby of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Forestry to do that. So when you see them, and we are not the one to go and check as to who's got it. So what we require is, and that is the thing that there was a kind of error. I cannot call it error. It's a very deliberate administrative or mess-up that permits were given at the Forestry Directorate without environmental clean certificate. And the law does not allow that. First, if somebody approaches you, look, I want to go and cut my trees and sell. We are talking about commercial activities. We're not talking about somebody who wants to cut and maybe for your own use. That you can do as long as you do it minimally. You can do. The same as sand mining. People are asking, why should now sediment? We are talking about commercial, when you are commercializing it. When you take sand and go and sell, that means you are taking the resources, natural resources which is owned communally. Forest, whether it's wherever, is protected also. It's a natural resources. And when it comes to environmental clearance, it's first to be issued with environmental clearance. The competent authority, which is now Minister of Agriculture, Water and Forestry, what are supposed to do? And that's what I educate people on this environmental law every day. Please, all institutions, all natural persons, when you are approached by somebody who wants to get something and they commercialize that natural resource, first, please send that to the commissioner, environmental commissioner, to see whether this activity is supposed to be done or cannot be done. Or if it has to be done and there's a danger of harming the environment, there must be an environmental management plan to manage that. The same applies to agricultural activities, farming units. People just, land reform the activities in the forest and the habitat of wildlife. Now you expect elephants to honor your activities. You are coming in their habitat. Now they complain no, these animals are destroying our fences. You did not get a clearance certificate. It's a listed activity. If you could have come to the environmental commissioner, we could have sent a scientist there and then advise to put up an environmental management plan, and then we can mitigate the impacts on your project. Now they cry. I said, do you have environmental clearance certificate and the management plan? No, we didn't know. I said, then you must eat from your ignorance. I can't be told somebody he didn't know. The ignorance of the law is not a justification at all. To say I didn't know, so no. I said, please let us respect that. And the timber, nothing will be cut without a clearance certificate. What we see now, some of them are transiting from other countries.
We see the videos.
Yeah.
WhatsApp videos.
From Angola, from DRC, Zambia had stopped We don't get, and they are using our harbor, which is a good thing because we get something from Namport. Namport is getting something. But we have to scrutinize, and we have a team to check this coming from somewhere. And when you see this, they are old ones that were cut before the moratorium. Together, the two ministers, environment and then agriculture, we had to decide to put up a moratorium, and then it was endorsed by the cabinet, so that no cutting of or commercializing and exporting of timber unprocessed is even unlawful. It, in fact, illegal. It's not even unlawful. It's illegal. It's prohibited by the Forestry Act and its regulation. Regulation number 12 completely prohibit any exportation of timber, unprocessed or semi-processed. That means you must have a table or something that you can, and that law stands still. A regulation is just a normal law, like the delegating law, and it has got the same effect to bite. So that means if you read regulations 12 of the Forest Act, it says no timber should be exported unprocessed or semi-processed unless, and that allowance is only given by the Director of Forestry, and it's only for capturing or scientific investigation. So if you are doing it commercially, it is not permitted by the law. So that's why we said I had to talk to the Minister of Industrialization to urge some of the investors to invest in timber factory. So they put up now timber factory in Katima, or they revived also in Katima, Runtu and Katima, and there are also some others who are now doing that. We have no problem if timber is harvested and the process here, creating jobs. That is exactly what, and there will be enough timber. But the way we were doing it, I can say that this I can say because we have empirical evidence that our scientists know that within 20 years there will be no forest in this country. If you could have allowed it at a pace that it was, every day. Timber trucks and also cargoes living with unprocessed timber. So we could have within 20 years we could have nothing at all. So, but this is what we need to protect. These are very expensive timber, rose trees, and those are very expensive teaks, and these take time to grow. 300 years, 400 years. These are very expensive natural resources. So we can do it ourselves here. Factories said that we can only allow it if there's factories here, processed here. Then we can give a clearance certificate, and we can make our own tables here, our own everything that we can do for consumption, and then export materials that are processed already, chairs, whatever. So then we can also create jobs here.
In the interest of time, I think I'm just going to read one more question before we call it quits for this morning. Boiki Ndatitangi Dishena, you are the lucky number, last one. His question: can the Honorable please tell us about this jackpot story? I've come across people from your ministry going around bars inquiring about jackpots. What is going on here? What campaign is this?
Yeah, the jackpot stories. You know that I want to cut it short. We are trying to register all the machines here. And what we are trying to do is to ensure that not only the casino level is very easy because we only have the active 4 casinos here in this country, and the 2 licenses are not, and the gambling houses we have a bit of them. But what we have, 95% of machines we have are unregistered, and that means they are illegal. Now, we are not going to confiscate any machine, and we assure them that. These inspectors are there to register every machine. But you are going to pay your tax eventually, because every machine, and this is mutually beneficiary, because this machine will be installed with a device. That device will be monitored by the central monitoring system, the Ministry of Finance, or wherever we place it there. And then every machine, whatever is going there, we're going to see that how much money you generated, how much money you're supposed to pay to the tax, to the fiscals. Now, to the CISA. CISA must get what is CISA, what is due to CISA. Now, and the other protection is that your machine will not be stolen anymore. Forget about this thing of now have these things and the security for your machine, because even if a person steals it, that number it cannot be used, because even the monitoring system is going to be tracked, because that device you cannot take it away. So you steal the machine, will follow you. Will follow you because there's a device there. So while you are in the car, we'll get you.
We can track you.
I know we do that. When we track some of the rhino horns, people they didn't know that sometimes animals are. We put devices on the animals, and that's why many of these people are caught red-handed. So you kill it, we'll know, we follow you, because the track we just get your phone on the phone. We'll see where you are, where you're passing, get you. So with this technology, it's easy. So you are protected. So no one will be losing this machine. But if you don't register it, of course there are some who are stolen. And those probably who have lost their machines, they will now be able to recover those machines. Some are tamper-tooth. The serial numbers are tamper-tooth. Okay, that's a criminal work of the with the police. Doesn't lie with us. Maybe it's a stolen machine and they found it there. So only people who are supposed to fear about these inspectors. These inspectors are composed from different Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Finance. The only people supposed to fear these are criminals. But if you were doing it to earn your bread, that's why yesterday I tabled an amendment to the Casino and the Gambling Control Entertainment Control Act of number 13 of 2018, to ensure that we the minister can also issue licenses, other licenses, because only license we have there now in the law is casino and the gambling houses. And the gambling houses, to put up a casino, you require hundreds of millions, because the hotel. A requirement for the gambling house still require that you put even 5 million there. It's not easy, or 2 million. So we can issue now the rest, 3, shibin, bars, but we are going to minimize the number, because as the time goes, we are going to put a moratorium not importing machines any further, but those who are registered, of course, we are going to put a bar, shibin, who have a license, maybe you have one, and it will regulate itself instead of taking bread from people, because the majority of people who are doing this are shibins and bars. So we have to introduce that category. That's why I introduced a law yesterday in the Parliament to introduce that category. So I'm rushing. I'm being told my officials, they are saying there's something. There's another appointment, and it looks like But we are neighbors. Anytime I'll come back.
For joining us this morning.
Comrade Minister, thank you so much for your time. I just wanted to say, guys, just in closing, I used to study with the Comrade Minister way back. Academia time.
Academy time, some where were you? Babaji.
But you can clearly see, the difference of what happened with the studies. I'm sitting here with a gin and a t-shirt, and the Comrade Minister is dressed in an immaculate suit. Okay, we started off together somewhere, but I don't know.
Okay. And he was naughty. He was naughty. He was not in the campus.
Korra Minister, thank you so much for taking
Welcome,
out some
Neva.
time. I think we've touched on most of the questions that we wanted to have clarity on. Maria, please, final words. You did not say anything.
No, it's...
Oh,
Thank you for being
I'll
here.
never
I
say.
learned a lot. No.
Never say.
I will
I'm a
send
good
you.
listener.
I will try and send the minister off with some words of encouragement from the viewers. Just some Tracy Sloan saying, "Good morning, fam. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Everything is clear now." Tena Nambwa, come 2024, our two presidential candidates, Honorable Shifeta and Honorable Toma Loendo. We believe you will bring change. And the last one, Tati Shifeta, before you go, please give me your tailor's number. Or surely your suits are top class.
I will do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, and that is also your morning mix for this morning on Informanté Radio, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Maria, uncharacteristically quiet this morning. But
No, I said, like I said, I'm a good listener. I don't always have to talk. Sometimes it's good to just listen.
sometimes you say more by listening. All right, guys, we're out of here. Enjoy the rest of the... What is vandaag donderdag? Tomorrow we have Miss Maria Nepembe in the studio. It's gonna be a lit one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, ons is wegkom.
Ciao.